Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles April O'Neil versus Foot Soldier Bashed. I don't know that versus is the right word for April, but that's okay, that's what it's called. It is a 2-pack with 2 different figures, one of which I know people wanted. The other one is a Foot Soldier, and it's probably okay. But is this figure set actually any good? That's the question. We're going to find out, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. The Foot Soldier stands, not surprisingly, just over 6.5 inches, which makes him pretty close to 17 centimeters. For April, because she's actually the new figure and the one people care about, she's about 15 centimeters, a little bit more than that, which makes her roughly 6 inches. Now, aesthetically speaking, the Foot Soldier is exactly the same as before, except his chesticle has been bashed. I think that's what it said on the front, right? Bashed. That's the only new thing about this guy. We're not going to talk about him anymore. The chest looks okay. It's very basic, nowhere near as interesting as the one that we just reviewed with Casey Jones, but this is what you get. We're done talking about the Foot Soldier. He's basically a pack-in, a bonus. I think honestly it's a way for NECA to make some extra money selling Foot Soldiers with only minor effort, minor expense. That's fine. I guess if people are okay with it, then that is fine. But as of right now, it's the only way to buy April, which does make it a somewhat questionable practice. I understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, but it doesn't make me necessarily happy about it. Now, as far as the aesthetics go for April, obviously it's an all-new sculpt, and I think they did a pretty good job. The head's a little questionable, I will say. It seems a bit big, she seems a bit fat-faced, and maybe a bit more cartoony than I would like. I haven't checked any screenshots from the show, so if that's wrong, then fine. It should be that way if that's the way it's supposed to be. But it seems a little bit off to me. Good news is the yellow is all molded other than the dark yellow, which is painted on. The black lines are mostly clean, except for this one, which is just totally has a mind of its own. The boots are painted well, sculpt is good. All in all, it seems pretty solid from an aesthetic standpoint. Her weird double elbows are fairly well hidden by her jacket, and I guess that's about it for the aesthetics. It's overall pretty solid. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. The black lines really need to be clean, and having that one does throw it off. I know it's not going to be a uniform issue, but it's the one I have, and it's the way I have to review it. And then the head does seem a little bit questionable. Now, as far as accessories go, we have a whole bunch. I'm going to run through all of them for both figures all at once. April comes with the 2 loose hands or relaxed hands that come on her in the package. She also has 2 gripping hands. The Foot Soldier has 2 fist hands in the package, 2 gripping hands, 2 high-five hands, and then 2 relaxed hands. April comes with a camcorder, with a voice recorder, with another microphone, with a turtle compact communicator type thingy. And then there's also a little orange alien guy and some little statue of a beaver. I don't know what the hell that is. There's also a communicator, like a shredder communicator with Bebop on it, an orange and a gray throwing star, and then the regular rifle, and then another rifle. All the accessories are done fairly well, no complaints there. It's a lot of accessories. I don't know what's up with I kind of remember the alien thing, I think, but I don't know what the other thing is. Anyway, 9 out of 10 for accessories. That's a bunch, and that's good. Alright, now for the articulation for April. Like I said, it's a whole new figure, so we had to see if it's gonna work. I don't really know what we have going on here. I think it's just a ball peg for the head. It moves around like a ball peg. Yep, it's a ball peg. It's actually a double ball peg, although the one in there is so tiny it doesn't do much, but it moves around a little bit. I'll give them some credit there. Seems like it should have been a bigger ball peg in there like they have done like with Kratos and various other figures. Head moves around okay, considering she has solid hair. I think that'll be alright, and a collar. That'll be okay. For the shoulders, they go up just better than horizontal, so that is pretty good. You're going to get your full rotation other than where her boobages are, like the side boob is in the way a little bit there. Am I allowed to say side boob on YouTube? I don't know. Side boob, side boob, side boob. We'll find out. There's no bicep swivel up here. There is a swivel at the top of this joint and at the bottom of this joint. Let's go ahead and test the hinging though first, if I can. We've had not good luck with hinges lately on NECA's Turtles, at least in the videos I filmed today. So honestly, you get 90 out of that bottom joint, and I suspect that if you bend that top joint, it's going to be ugly as heck. So probably don't do that, but I can't do it anyway because it is stuck. Let's try this one. Oh, it's going. It's going. Let's go ahead and do it. So it looks to me like, as long as you, I said that funny, I sounded like that one Muppet. Anyway, If you only use one joint, it looks like it's gonna look okay. But if you use two joints, that elbow is gonna look freakish. I think. Let's just try it. Yep. I think I'm right. That is freakish. That is a weird elbow. Like, it's probably not gonna be super noticeable if you're not looking for it, but it's definitely weird. I get the idea that NECA is going with the effort of increasing range, but these double jointed elbows that they're doing, not my cup of tea at all. I don't know if I would recommend doing that anymore. I think just a single jointed elbow with a little better than 90 would be sufficient and definitely better looking. I think I'm leaning towards their older figures that have less range and better aesthetics. Diaphragm joint is maybe a double, functionally like a single. Rotates, of course, not much leaning, but some, and it is fairly loose. Like, she's not real floppy, but it's fairly loose. All right, for the hips, she does have the ball socket hips, not the old kind of hips, and they go out to the side just fine. Her diaper stretches, so that works pretty well. They are very loose, though. Very loose. Did you see that? Yep, there you go. Very loose. This one's not as bad, but it's still pretty loose. Going forward, the diaper is not designed such that it can really stretch enough. So they can go forward a little bit, but at an angle. If you go straight up, you're going to be stretching it and probably tearing it. So be aware of that. There's a little bit of thigh swivel in there, so that's okay. Double jointed knees. Oh my goodness, they are tight, if not stuck. Golly, I'm just not having a good day with joints. It's like every figure I've reviewed today has had bad joints. Yep, I can't bend the knees. That one feels like it might go. If you heat this up and then let it cool, you're probably going to be okay. Somebody asked me why let it cool first. Because if you heat it up and the plastic is PVC, which these are, you have a possibility of tearing right through that plastic. It gets very soft and can tear fairly easily. If you let it cool, you'll have less of a chance of it actually working, but you'll have very little chance of it breaking. So you can heat it and let it cool, and hopefully just the expansion and contraction has popped the joint free. You can do that a couple times and give it a shot. Otherwise, be very careful if you're actually moving joints while they're hot. If they're made out of PVC, you can tear them easily, so be careful. All right, for the ankles, it looks like they're great. Let's see. Yeah, they go all the way back and all the way forward, which is excellent. And they have a really solid ankle rocker. That's good. It looks like, oh good, I thought there was like yellow paint in there, yellow plastic, but it didn't stay. So she is not particularly good. The shoulders are good. Torso is almost good. Hips are like halfway good and halfway bad. Ankles are great. Head's okay. It's not impressive. It'll be okay, just like most of the other turtles where if you're putting them on the shelf, turtles figures, if you're putting them on the shelf, they'll be fine. But these are not made for kids to play with. They're not really made for adults to pose. They're made for nostalgia for the most part, I'm starting to think. And I mean, like, NECA's trying to put the range in there, so I don't know. I'm of like 10 different minds on these figures. They're clearly trying to give us more range in these things, like the elbow joints and things like that, but they're not working. It doesn't work in a lot of ways. So I think NECA's somewhere in between what they normally do, which is the aesthetic, and then what they want to do, which is the range. So I don't know. Did I give a rating for the articulation? I don't know if I did. If I did, go with that. If I didn't, I'm going to say 6. Now, if I've given 2 different numbers, average them out. All right, final verdict on this set. This foot soldier is far less desirable, as far as I'm concerned, than the one that came with Casey Jones, so it feels to me more like just a way to defray the cost of April as far as manufacturing goes. Definitely a bummer. April, on the other hand, is halfway awesome, like they really were onto something in general when they conceived this figure, but in execution, it feels a lot less like something I'm really happy to own. Gotta be honest, you guys know NECA sends me most of the stuff I review, and I'm always honest about how I feel, and I gotta say I'm fairly disappointed with this set. Not a great soldier, and overall disappointed with April. She'll be fine, but it's not like I'm happy to own it. It's nothing like the experience I had with their Super Shredder, for instance. So I'm fairly disappointed overall. It's not a terrible set by any means. If it looks good to you, go get it. I mean, I give you the information, you decide what you want, and then I just pepper in my own opinions on top of the information just to make these worth watching. But that's my feeling about the whole thing. I'll give the 2-pack overall a 6 out of 10. If April gets a single release down the line, that's the way to go. There's no way to guarantee that'll happen, though they seem to be doing as many re-releases as possible. And I'm concerned about Burnout. How do you guys feel about Turtle Burnout with NECA? Anybody? Anybody? I'm a Turtles fan for the most part. Like, I grew up watching it, but I'm not hardcore into it. And I'm starting to feel a little bit of that burn. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about that. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't, so I didn't do a question of the day again. Dang it. I have to stop forgetting to do that. Alright, fine. Was Turtles 2 a good movie? The live action one, was it a good movie? I'm gonna say yes. Not as good as the first one, totally different type of movie than the first one, but still, I think it was good overall. Alright, subscribe if you haven't, and in the meantime, keep collecting.